be happy to help you personalize your profiles. But today I want to just break down the entire idea of what profile is and why do we look at it. I'm glad there's some parents here because they will agree with me and they can write in the chat box. When your parents were going to universities in particular, we did every single thing in school, right? We were looking at participating in sports, activities, everything. Without realizing there was a fancy term called profile or profile building, we were doing it by default. And that is something that all of us on this side of the table have done. But today, how things have changed, things have become a little more strategic, rational, and we have started creating fancy terms like profile building. I genuinely get surprised and amazed when a lot of people in the industry start talking to students about building a profile in seventh, eighth. They're not technically wrong, but you should understand that what that profile entails. More than that, why and who needs this is equally important. So let's say I'm a student in class 12th. I'm looking at uh, you have not missed anything, Sanvi. You're good. You're right on time. If you're looking at studying, let's say, medicine in India, you're giving a NEET examination. Does your profile really matter? Absolutely not. It doesn't. Not for your college admissions. If you're writing the JEE exam to get into engineering colleges, will your profile help you in admissions? It wouldn't, because IITs don't care about it. But where does your profile matter is when you get into college, how do you compete? How do you generalize? How do you understand a particular area you're really good at? How do you land internships? So all the work you're putting in high school is never a waste. Let's understand that. Today, I will try my best to help you understand what a good profile looks like and how do you interpret this for yourself. Whichever part of your journey you're in high school, you should be able to have some takeaway from this. That's the idea. If you're a student, take out pens and papers. If you're a parent, I hope this declutters a lot of noise that you keep hearing. That will be my only agenda today, right? So how I go about this is, and how I start looking at profiles, because I start working with students very, very early, right? I personally love breaking down profile into an acronym which I have come up with. It's purely personal, it doesn't exist. And that's how I look at it. Now, if I'm in class 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, whichever part of the journey, everyone keeps telling me find a passion. But my question to you is, how on earth can I find a passion when I have not tried different things? Let me ask you a simple question. Can you quickly write in the chat box your favorite cuisine? What is the dish you like to eat? What is, I'm not ordering food for anybody, just letting you know. Quickly, what do you like to eat? I have so many momos and pizzas and wonderful. Lovely. Excellent. Oh, done. I'm glad everyone's eating fun food. Now, if I change the question and ask you, what is the best dish in the world? Can you answer that question for me? Can anybody here tell me what is the best dish in the world? You can't, right? Because you've not tried everything. Somebody who's saying Vazwan is great, Hamza, but you've not tried every single dish in the world. You can't answer that. When I mean I know the best, that means you've tried every single thing you can decide. You can't do that, right? It's not Samar. That's not the case. Till the time you have all the options you've considered, how do you decide the best one? You can't do that. Similarly, how can I ask a 9th or 10th grader, what is your passion? I can't, because we're still discovering. Maybe you have developed a passion that can change, your interest can evolve. So the first thing is, how do you work towards pursuing a passion and figuring it out? The entire job or entire responsibility as a student in high school is figuring out. Done. We're not ordering food. Okay, wonderful. I'm going to throw Krishna out of here and report you to your school. Don't worry, I'll figure out. Anyone interrupting the chat here, with all due respect to you, you'll be asked to leave because you're here to learn. Thank you so much. And if it's done by mistake, we let this go for once, right? Now, when we're looking at pursuing a passion, the first is to understand what it is. The easiest way of doing that is, first, let's try different activities, be it subjects, creativity, sports, debates, any activity, and realize what are your core areas you really enjoy doing. By this point of time, you have some idea. It's completely fine if you've not narrowed it down. Second is, if you already like a particular domain, we start working towards improving on that and specializing on this. For instance, I'm working with a student right now who wants to be an astrophysicist. Now, she realized in class 9 she really enjoys physics. She started reading books, watching podcasts, went to the planetarium, and realized that she's really growing in that interest area. And what happened after that is she was like, I really want to do something in the space sciences. And she got to explore different things. As she worked on internships, projects, she narrowed down that there's a huge demand for the space industry, but I want to do research because that's my core area. And we set up a path for the next 4 years for her to explore that. Now she's become all the more certain she wants to do astrophysics, but wants to work with organizations like ISRO, NASA down the line. And that's the kind of clarity she has now. But it's taken her a while, right? Also, when you work on different things, most people forget you have to document this. Now, I'm not talking about colleges, but if you don't make a note of what you're doing, you will forget it. Second, you can't go back and reflect and understand the challenges you faced, things you enjoyed, or what is it that you did not have a good time doing. So you have to understand, you start documenting things very well. Take a minute, take these notes. I'm going to break it down again. The agenda is not to discover, to work towards discovering your passion. You look at your interests. How do you work on those interests? How do you realize, can these interests become a passion, and continue documenting everything? This is very, very crucial. I'm going to take some time at the end and walk you through a few students' profiles on LinkedIn and show you how well have people documented those profiles as well. But make sure you do the bare minimum, right? And you can actually make a paper and write down the acronyms the acronym I made for you. Okay. So when I look at the next thing is, most students I meet today, one of the things that I wouldn't use the word lacking is something they need to work on. It's an area of development, is resilience. Now, when you look at applying to universities and going to colleges, they all care about the fact that how have you shown consistency over a period of time? How have you faced the challenge? How have you managed to take care of a setback and gotten over it? I must have performed really badly in class 11, but did I give up or did I come back stronger? My 12th first term was better. Half yearly was even better, and my final results was even better. How have you been able to face a challenge and problem and able to work on this? I was on a sports, I could not play, I got injured. How did I get something after a failure or a loss? Or actually say that, listen, I'm going to learn from this experience and get back. Showing the very important part. And you can only do this if you end up participating, right? One of the most important points which I look at as an admission reader or when I'm interviewing people for universities or preparing people for universities is how you adapt and overcome, right? Give me a time where you face a challenge, things did not work in your favor, you realize starting a school has this activities, how do you learn from others, how self-aware are you, and how do you try and grow? Whenever you're participating in any activity, ask yourselves, how do you work towards improving on this? This is very, very crucial, right? One of the easiest parts is, let's say I'm doing very well as a student. How are you helping your other friends? Are you helping them build their own initiatives? Are you volunteering in their initiative? Are you helping your friends do better? Are you teaching them a subject, right? Somebody might be going through a similar problem. You are part of a football team and your friend is not performing as well. Can you talk to them and understand what is not working for them? Can you help them in some way? All of this counts towards perseverance or resilience. Either of the words work very well. They have a slight difference, but how resilient you are is a very, very important thing. Ask yourselves, what has been an instance where you've been resilient? I'm going to give you a minute to think about a time where you showed resilience in your high school, any activity, be it academically, non-academically, in whatever part. I hope I'm audible to everybody, right? Students, you can think of any instance that, okay, great. Thank you, Chavi. Okay. Love that, Chavi. That's great. That's playing football is fine, but where did you show resilience there? I want to understand the reason. Hamza, how can you work on that and improve on this? Great that you're acknowledging that. How can you improve on this? Now, this all comes from resilience. I'll give you a simple idea. Whenever you get the time, do this activity. Speak to your parents and ask them that how did you face a challenge and overcome it? Your parents on a given day are dealing with so much at work. Despite that, they're spending time with you, helping you out with studies, everything that you want to do. Now, that's a prime example. I feel mothers are the most resilient people, right? Because they have to deal with so much on a given day. So every parent goes through that. So understand how do you go through this, right? Janani, now understand one interesting thing. Getting an A star in your boards can be tricky for you, but imagine you are competing with an audience in India where students are dealing with bigger problems. They're dealing with cities where they don't have electricity or internet, and you're talking about just marks. So your resilience also needs to be comparable to that level. I'm not saying I'm undermining your resilience, but you have to start thinking from a broader level. Ridhiman has shared. Okay, this is a great example. So, guys, it's not difficult, right? Now, one thing that I want you to think about today after this webinar is circle back that, listen, this is how I've done something. If you haven't, find something that you can improve on and get better at. Done, Hamza, absolutely. But come on, right? I can be in Rajasthan and worry about the heat then. Think of something that's very personal to you, right? Wonderful. Great, guys. Great examples. I'm glad. Okay. I'm glad we are on track. Now, more than anything, I personally love this part of profile. How original can you be? I know you've heard of this a lot of times, especially to a friend, ChatGPT, originality is being lost, but you can actually use AI also to help you think creatively and originally, right? Uh, can we please throw out this UPK Badmash? We don't need any Badmashes here. Thank you so much, Ritik. And please figure out what school this person is from if you can find out. I would love to write a mail to the principal. Great. When we look at originality, we have to understand that what makes you you. What is that one thing about you nobody else can talk about? Whenever we are working with students applying to colleges, we always try and help them identify one thing that was very personal to them, right? Find out a problem you want to solve, but your way of doing it, right? How do you merge your different interest areas to find something unique that's personal to you? How do you look at a different way of approaching a particular challenge you're facing? Something that makes you completely yourself. Take a second and reply, and you guys are very responsive. What is that one thing that's very unique about you? What is that one hobby that makes you very different? What is that one skill you have you're really good at? It could be as quirky as you like it. Okay, sure, Hardik. Wonderful. Poetry, chess, calligraphy. Today's been a great day. Our friend Carlson has been defeated again. Dance, art, communication, singing, badminton, volleyball. See such talented bunch of kids, right? Now that's the idea. When you do so much, how can you forget, right? No, no, Carlson is not. Yeah, come on. We support Indian chess kids. They're doing excellent job. That's the point, right? Public speaking. All these things make you so interesting. Interesting dinosaurs. So Jala, that's very interesting. It's okay. Asita, being the best is not the point here. You will learn, get better, but that makes it personal. Now, I'll give you an idea. Abhishek is one of the most common names there is, right? Now, here, when I talk to somebody, they all know that Abhishek obsessively talks about careers because that's who I am. But you can immediately take away and relate me to that person and you remember me by. Find something that's very personal to you, and it's not difficult. So, today, take a second and think of something really personal to you. Vishal is an actor. That's wonderful. So all these skills you already know. I am not telling you anything. You guys are coming up with your answers. So when you're looking at your profiles, please understand working towards your passion, being resilient, and also looking at originality in who you are. That's very, very crucial. Okay, let's maintain the momentum. Now, this is something where we start associating your current selves to your future selves. This is very interesting and important. How do you work towards your future orientation? Identify skills that are going to be important. Now, quickly write down or type down in the chat box what skills do you feel will continue to be more important? Which skills you feel will be very important in 2030? AI, sure. I'm so glad you guys are so smart. Empathy, AI, public speaking, communication, great. Now, the idea is when you're writing down a skill, ask yourself, how many of these skills am I working on? If I say I like AI, am I learning AI tools every week? Am I learning Excel? Am I trying to be a more of an empath? I'm trying to learn different coding languages, spoken languages. Am I trying to help somebody and be more human? Right? Now, that's the idea. When you know the skills that are important, are we working towards it? And how do you work? By participating, by learning a skill, by genuinely training for it, right? That's the point. How do you go ahead and specialize in a particular subject? I love physics, biology, economics, chemistry. Am I picking up courses, certifications, attending master classes, workshops, internships? to work and develop a particular specialization for myself. If you're not putting in that effort, how exactly are you getting better? That's a very, very important question to think about. So spend some time ideating on this because that is how you progress, right? And that's very, very crucial. Gaining practical exposure. Now, I know you might wonder that it's difficult for a high schooler to get internships, but where can you go and shadow, learn, or intern? First people are your friends, family, their companies, your parents' companies. If your parents have their own business, nothing better. Go learn there. If they have friends who have businesses, go learn there. Your safety is of utmost importance. Please understand that. That's why a lot of companies, absolutely, Hamza. Thank you so much. Kia is a brilliant initiative that everybody should know about, and we're privileged to work with them. Um, the idea is to think about how do you gain more exposure in different capacity, and there is so much work to be done. I would really encourage you guys to talk to people who are working, learn from them, because there's no better way to understand how you work, right? Developing global perspectives. I feel the way the world's working right now, everybody needs to have a political and global opinion. You need to follow the trends, you need to understand what is happening in the world. Now, this could be done through international initiatives, volunteering, UN initiatives, working there, UNICEF. I've been with UNICEF the last 11 years of my life as a volunteer, right? So to figure out how do you start early. Uh, Duke of Edinburgh, that's IAYP Award, International Award for Young People, cross-cultural exchanges, global competitions, debates, dramatics, quizzes, any way you can coordinate, right? I'm so sorry I would have spoken in Hindi, but the problem is it's very generic and people from around the country are there. Ritik, why aren't we throwing this person out? I'm really getting bothered with this person. Can we do that? And can we report the student who's interrupting everyone? Wonderful. And students, I'll request you to send your questions to everyone, not to hosts and panelists, so everybody can read your questions. Otherwise, they think Abhishek is talking to himself. Yeah? Wonderful. Sorry for the interruption. So make sure you're reading the news, following perspective, genuinely trying to understand what's happening in the world. Ritik, can you throw Krishna out as well? I'm so sorry, I'm being very direct about it. I want to respect everyone's time who's here. Great. So make sure you are getting future ready. And that's very, very crucial. That's how you prepare for the job markets. Now, if you're doing something and you're not able to make an impact, that becomes a problem. Anything you do, any way you want to support somebody, it's very crucial to work towards creating an impact, right? So make sure you spend time doing that. First is identify how can you support a community, correct? I'm going to just, I think, scroll this up a little bit. Yeah. How do you support a community in particular? How do you work towards them? How do you work towards helping them? Now, let's say I live in a particular city. And I want to teach students who are not as fortunate as I am because I go to a good school. Can I go and teach them digital literacy? Can I work with workers in my school and help them with financial literacy? That could be helping the community in that way, right? School, can I start a debate club in my school? Can I help younger kids with public speaking because I'm good at it? Can I work towards a bigger problem in my society? All these things are absolutely Dipti. Wonderful example, right? I'm so glad. Okay, tell me about an initiative you worked on. I'm sure you all come from good schools, you would have volunteered, right? Why don't you share what you have done already? I'll take a minute. Everyone, please change the setting to sharing to everyone. No, it's coming to only hosts and panelists. Please make that change. That's wonderful. Volunteer for searching the asteroids in space. Oh, that's very interesting, Yash. I would love to know more about it. Mental wellness for underprivileged kids. Made a hackathon club. How wonderful. See, you guys already have such cool ideas. That's my point, right? But another thing, are you documenting, sharing, talking about this? When you do good work, please brag about it. Go shout on the rooftop and talk about it because you need to make a difference. Great, Deepak. That's excellent work. I love it. I'm just reading the ideas. Stationary to orphanages, youth Red Cross. Wonderful work, guys. Excellent. Oh, community cleaning, Kalakriti. Wonderful work, guys. Excellent. Now, if you pay attention, you guys are already doing some great work. Now, the idea is when you make an impact, talk about it. Write an article, write a LinkedIn post, do anything that talks about the work and document it for yourself. How many hours you spent, how many people you worked with, what was the result. Always have a metric to track the result, right? I think, Shama, the best way to do that is I was coming to that. Make a metric for yourself. Okay. If I'm able to work with a certain number of people? How will they get better? If I'm teaching somebody, are they passing an exam? You can develop a self metric. Actually, ask ChatGPT to do it for you today. I've actually tried for multiple initiatives of my students. Wonderful, Janani. That's wonderful. Now, you all got the idea. I've shared an example of my student, by the way, Arjun, in the slide, if you can see. Okay, I've skipped the page. I don't know what has happened. 1 second. Okay, there you go. Now, this is very critical. Absolutely does. Okay, great. Now, when we look at leadership and learning, I think L stands for both. If you have any formal leadership roles in school, try and get them. It could be student council, debate team, club captain, prefect, head boy, head girl, whatever that is, because that always shows authority and also people trust you to give you responsibility. But everything in leadership is not just about just the designation. It's also about informal leadership. I play in a team sport. I'm really good at it. I don't have the team captain badge, but I'm really supporting people to get better. Universities recognize leadership through initiatives as well. So in case you're working towards being a leader, show it. More than words, actions matter here. This is the best possible context I can give you. I can be somebody who's helping out friends in a particular club. I don't have the club leader badge, doesn't matter. So how do you contribute to a particular initiative or a school that makes a big difference for you, right? How do you showcase curiosity, continuous learning, consistency? All of this together matters a lot. Your learning is so important. A university down the line will appreciate the fact that you've been able to grow consistently, do a good job, and that matters a lot. How sincere have you been throughout? Like, easy example will be you get a 95 in 10th, you get a 55 in 11th, you get a 95 in 12th. Inconsistent, unserious in life. You're capable, but unserious. That's a problem for me. How do you balance excellence? How do you work towards achieving well in academics, balancing curriculars, extracurriculars? How do you showcase a well balanced profile? We speak of work life balance. How do you find that particular blissful balance in your high school? It's tricky, but it's manageable, right? I would rather look at a student with a 90% and multiple activities than somebody with 100% and no activities, right? You can make a tracker, you can make a document with demand, you can use Notion. I mean, either of them can work, yeah, whatever's more comfortable for you. And otherwise, get a mentor to keep a check on you throughout. That could be another way. That's how we work as well, right? Okay. Last bit, I mean, you can take a liberty, but I personally like exploration and experience. How do you get to try different things? How do you get to explore different subjects? Correct? Taking courses beyond your interests. I mean, I'm studying commerce, but what if I want to study law, psychology? Let me talk about data science. You can play around and shuffle around on different academic interests to try a breadth of subjects. That shows that you're very intrigued as a person. I want to know more about different things. Cultural immersion will be how do you deal with different cultures, festivals, languages. Traveling is the best way to do that. Um, I don't know if everyone, but I hope everybody does. I hope everyone here knows this actor called Mr. Pankaj Tripathi. He's a brilliant actor. I hope everyone knows. I'll give you a very interesting example he shares with students. I was reading his interview recently, right? He talks about the fact that everybody after high school or in college should travel the country on train and talk to people across the country. And I think that's a great way. Wherever you go, I tell all my students to take a note of who did they meet, what did they like, what was the dialect, what did they find uncomfortable, what did they really learn from a person. That shows you so much depth in our country. And wherever you go, be it traveling abroad, same thing. You get to learn so much about people because you have to work with people. That's so important, right? Professional experience, I mentioned about internship and shadowing. Go try out different things, even if that's not the best thing or that's not the thing you want. Maybe you get to learn something, right? That's okay, Chavi. That's completely fine and normal. I love